Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's daily news time. It's a bank holiday Monday, so there's not that many stories to talk about. I have found 3 stories that I do want to talk about though. First off, Sheyi, second, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and thirdly, Danny Ward. So we're going to get straight into the Sheyi stuff now. The Shield Gazette up in Newcastle is linking him, and they're not the only paper to do this, actually. They're linking him with a move to Rafa Benitez's Newcastle United. Sheyi signed for us in 2011 under, well, Dalglish was the manager of Liverpool at the time. He was signed as a 14-year-old kid. He's only made, I think it's 8 starts for us in total now over his Liverpool career. He had a loan spell at Wigan where he had 11 appearances. He had a loan spell at Wolverhampton Wanderers where he had 17 appearances and scored a couple of goals as well. He was rumoured to have signed for us for about £2 million. Now, Benitez, obviously, Newcastle won the Championship season just gone, and they'll be coming back into the Premier League. This, it's not said whether it's as a loan or it's actually as a sign and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one, because Sheyi a guy who I think, you know, he's had an injury and stuff last season. It's kept him out for a large part of the season, but I felt like he's the type of player that we could have utilised more last season, especially with Mane's injuries and stuff. So although he's not hit the heights as a Liverpool player that you'd expect yet, especially one that came in under so much hype, you know, us and Chelsea were rumoured to be interested when we signed him. You know, a guy with massive potential, really high ceiling in the game, and, you know, hasn't broken into the Liverpool side as such. It hasn't made himself a first team squad player regularly enough for me yet. But a guy who, you know, when you see play football, you know, back end of the season before last now, when we had Christian Benteke up front, I think we were away at West Brom. He had a good game. I'm sure it was the West Brom game where Ibe scored. He had a good game, and, you know, he had a couple of assists for Christian Benteke at the tail end of that season as we were in the Europa League campaign and getting towards the final. So a guy I think has the talent to make himself a first team Liverpool player. Whether he'll go on and achieve that is obviously something different. So for me, I'm not too happy on that. You know, if we're rumoured to have bought him for £2 million back in the day, you know, I think we can be getting much more out of him, not just money-wise, but, you know, on the field as well. So I'd hold on to Sheyi for another season, see what he can do this year if given any opportunities. Personally, a loan deal might work out really well for him, though, if he's getting game time. I think they've got a guy called... I can't remember his name. He's been injured, Newcastle's winger, and, you know, I think they've got a couple of guys whose contracts aren't getting renewed and stuff. So he could have opportunities for Newcastle. If he's going to get first team opportunities, maybe giving him a loan deal to someone like a Benitez could be good for us as well. Anyway, we'll move on. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Oxlade-Chamberlain, a guy who, look, I've gone on record loads of times to say that I really like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as a footballer. If you watch the FA Cup final at the weekend, I don't think you get a fair reflection of how good he is. He lost the ball so many times. You know, the commentators were like, "Oh yeah, but he's winning the ball back." It was his mess-ups that cost him and cost his team the ball in a lot of those occasions. So for me, it wasn't a great game for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Admittedly, it looked like he was playing like, it was wing back, wasn't it? So a difficult position for him. One thing he did say, though, if you've watched the end of the FA Cup coverage, he had an interview out for BT Sport over on the pitch, and Steven Gerrard was there, and he did say, "I've always wanted to be Steven Gerrard, so I've still got a hope of that." And that's when he was talking about being a centre midfielder, and Stevie was stood right in front of him as well. So if you saw that is that a hint? Is that a hint? I'm not too sure. I think, you know, Oxlade-Chamberlain could be the guy who we get the rest of our business sorted, and he's brought in more as a utility player, maybe cover some different areas in the squad. You know, could it be that we go 3 at the back and he plays a little bit of winger really more than anything else? Is he going to be one of those guys, if we play 3-man midfield, that plays centrally, could maybe cover for like Lallana or Wijnaldum, Chan, something like that? So he's a guy who I see, if Liverpool sign him, as the final piece in the summer transfer business. I don't think he's the guy who you pin your entire summer transfer window hopes on. And for 35 million quid, it might just depend on the other business that we get done. So, but still a player that I'd like to see. 23 years old. He's been around a long time now. He's an experienced footballer. Not had as many games as he probably would have hoped to have at Arsenal at this stage of his career, but a guy who's clearly talented, who's got that drive, who's got that determination, and who can succeed at the top level in football. Let me know again what you think in the comment section below, of course, on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And finally, Danny Ward, David Wagner, we all know he was Klopp's best man, one of his best mates and all that type of stuff. Huddersfield play in the playoff final today. The one is in the most expensive game in football or something like that. Now, Wagner supposedly wants Ward in the Premier League next season, and this could be something that, again, a little bit like the Sheyi stuff. If Huddersfield are playing in the Premier League, I would kind of like to see what Danny Ward looks like in the Premier League, because it's all well and good being linked with like your Jordan Pickfords and all this type of stuff, but how would he compare to somebody else? Huddersfield could come in, they could be whipping boys, or they could come in and play really good football and start to win points and find themselves quite high up into the Premier League and stuff. They've had some really great performances this season. As a team I have watched more than any other in the Championship, I would say. Look, if Huddersfield get to the Premier League, then it seems like a no-brainer to me to let Danny Ward go and stay there, continue his development, and continue to learn how to be a goalkeeper, this time in the Premier League, and that could work out good for us in the long run. If you've enjoyed the show, if you're having a good bank holiday weekend, do give the show a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to Redmen TV already, and if you want the in-depth stuff, again, today we've released the Liverpool Stats Show, which is an hour and 10 minutes based on Liverpool's season in stats. Tomorrow we've got a second part of that episode, 45 minutes, based on individual players, where we looked at Simon Mignolet against some of his rivals in the Premier League, some of the better players in the Premier League, should I say even. We looked at James Milner, do we need to upgrade there? And we based it on stats as well. We looked at Bobby Firmino, his goal count and all that type of stuff, compared to like your Harry Kanes and your Diego Costas and all the other little bits and bobs around that. So really two really interesting stats. So if you've not already had a free trial, now's a really good time, because last week's content, there was probably about 8 to 10 hours worth of content there. This week we've got at least another 4 or 5 hours of content. It's all for £2 a month. It's free, as I say, if you start your 3-month trial now. Tomorrow we've got the day after tomorrow, we've got a player ratings 2-parter coming out, where we rated every single player who's featured for Liverpool this season, from Simon Mignolet to Ben Woodburn. So that's 2 great shows we've already got in the bag, and they're going to be out Wednesday and Thursday. So as I say, if you want to support the Redmen TV, if you like the stuff that we do on YouTube, it is all because of the stuff that we're able to do because of our paying subscribers on the redmentv.com. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure. As always, enjoy the rest of your bank holiday, and I'll see you tomorrow.